Imagine this. You're just about to head out the door for an important appointment. You grab your car remote, press the button, nothing happens. Or your TV remote just stops working in the middle of a game. Maybe your favorite flashlight, the one you put in the drawer just last month with fresh batteries, won't even flicker when you need it. We've all been there, right? The big question that flashes through your mind in that moment is it just the battery or is something else broken? What if I told you that in under a minute, you could know for sure using a tool you might already have lying around? Most people never learn how deceptively simple it is to check. And today, that's exactly what we're going to do together. Welcome to Boring Economic Update, where the boring stuff is exactly the kind of knowledge that saves you time and money. If you like learning everyday skills that actually make life easier, hit that subscribe button now. You won't want to miss out on tips that help you get more out of the stuff you already own. Let's dive in. So picture this. You've collected a bunch of batteries over the years. Some came from gadgets that stopped working, some you bought in bulk, some might even be in their original packaging. Over time, they pile up. You don't know which ones are good, which are duds, and which ones are maybes. You reach into your junk drawer every time the remote goes on strike, but you're rolling the dice each time. I know this feeling all too well. About a year ago, I hit peak frustration when both my wireless mouse and my TV remote quit on the same day. I grabbed what I thought was a fresh AA from the drawer, only to watch the mouse stutter back to life and die again a minute later. Was the battery dead? Was my mouse dying? It felt like a guessing game I just couldn't win. But then I remembered I had a multimeter buried at the bottom of my toolbox. Maybe you do too. Or maybe you've seen one before and thought it looked way too technical to use. Here's the truth. Testing a battery with a multimeter is one of the easiest and most useful things you can do with it. And once you know how, you can do it in less than 60 seconds. No electrical background needed, no special equipment. If you don't already have a multimeter, they cost less than a takeout dinner and last for years. If you do, get ready to dust it off, because you're about to put it to work. First, here's what you need to know. Batteries don't all act the same, but almost all household batteries, AA, AAA, even button cells, are just little cans holding electricity. That electricity is measured in volts. For example, a new AA or AAA battery should measure around 1.5 volts when it's fresh. A new 9-volt battery, like the kind you find in smoke alarms, should be right around, you guessed it, 9 volts. Even car batteries work the same way, just on a much bigger scale. But you don't want to guess. So here's the step-by-step. Start by setting your multimeter to DC voltage. All batteries run on DC, that's direct current, so you'll want to look for the symbol with a V and a straight line and some dotted lines underneath. Most basic multimeters will have ranges, like 2V or 20Vi. For most home batteries, the 20Vi option is the safe choice if you're not sure. Now look at your multimeter. It has two probes, usually one red and one black. The red probe is for positive, the black for negative. Touch the black probe to the flat end of the battery, the side, and the red probe to the end with the little bump, the plus side. Then just read the number that comes up. If your AA or 808 reads close to 1.5V, it's strong enough for almost any device. If it's dropped down to 1.2Vi or less, it's probably on its last legs. For a 9V, anything above 8.5V is usually good. Below 7.5V means you're living dangerously. Button cells, those little round batteries in watches or hearing aids, typically start at 1.5V2, but may refuse to work in some devices even when just a tiny bit low, another common frustration. And it's not just about single-use batteries. Rechargeable batteries like NIMH, AA, or AAA are fully charged at about 1.2V, not 1.5Va, like their disposable cousins. So if you measure a fully charged rechargeable and see 1.2V, that's normal. But if it drops to or below 1.0V, it's time to recharge or replace it. I did my own junk drawer experiment after years of frustration, and here's what surprised me. About half the dead batteries I kept weren't dead at all. Some were even better than brand new ones from a cheap bulk pack. Multimeters cut through the guesswork and tell you in real numbers whether a battery is done or still has life left. Just a minute with your multimeter and you're done guessing. No more swapping out batteries at random or tossing out ones that still have hours of energy left. It's such a small win, but it adds up fast once you start. And here's where the curiosity should be really kicking in. Is that number on your multimeter always telling you the whole story? Can a battery show good voltage but still not power your device? Or is there more happening than you might think behind that simple display? Stick with me because we're about to explore some real-world battery mysteries, and what you learn next will help you squeeze every last drop of power from every single battery in your house. So, you've just tested a battery and you see the voltage on your multimeter's screen, a nice, satisfying number. It's almost like checking the fuel gauge in your car. But here's the twist. Just because a battery reads close to full voltage doesn't always mean it has the power to get the job done. Why? Because batteries can be tricky. Some batteries develop what's called surface charge. They show a healthy voltage when at rest, but the moment your device tries to use them, that voltage drops like a rock. You might have already experienced this. You test a battery, you see 1.4 volts, you pop it in the remote, and it's still dead. Frustrating, right? Here's what's going on under the hood. When a battery is drained or near the end of its life, its chemical reactions slow down. Sometimes, for just a moment, they can fake being healthy if they have been sitting idle. As soon as current is demanded, like when your flashlight, remote, or even garage door opener tries to draw power, the battery's actual condition is revealed. That's why some people get confused when the battery tests okay on a meter, but doesn't do the job. The lesson here, always test batteries under the same conditions they'll be used, or if possible, do a loaded test. While many standard multimeters can't do this automatically, you can simulate it. How? For AA or AAA batteries, you can temporarily place a small resistor, try 10 high power to 50 ohm, half watt, across the probes while measuring. This simulates the battery powering a simple device and gives you a much clearer idea of real battery strength. Back when I discovered this, it was a light bulb moment. I tested a battery for my TV remote. At rest, it read 1.28 volts, which seemed serviceable. But once I added a resistor, watching the voltage drop to 0.89 volts in an instant, I knew the battery was all show and no go. This became especially important with those little coin cell batteries. Take watch batteries, for example. Many digital watches, calculators, or medical devices demand very steady voltage, or they won't work right. I once spent hours troubleshooting a friend's calculator, worried it was broken, when, all along, the battery's offload voltage was only just high enough to fool a quick check, but not enough to actually power the device. But what about car batteries? If you rely on your car to get to work, you know how defeating it feels to turn the key and hear nothing but a click. The principles here are the same, but on a more serious scale. Car batteries are big, and so are their jobs. For cars, 12 volts is the catchphrase. But a fresh car battery should actually read closer to 12.6 volts when fully charged and at rest. If you see 12.3, it's still acceptable, but dipping below 12.0 means the battery is weak. And anything under 11.8, well, you're asking for trouble. Even more important is the loaded test. When you try to start the car, a healthy battery should stay above 10 volts while the engine turns over. If it drops sharply under load, your car might struggle even if everything looked okay on a no-load test. That's a big deal, especially on cold mornings when batteries tend to be weakest. Let's drop back to household batteries for a moment. Testing batteries before recycling is a small habit with big rewards. Many times, you'll find a forgotten set of dead batteries still holding over 1.2 volts. They might not work in a camera flash, but could power a simple clock or backup flashlight for weeks more. I once moved into a rental apartment and found an entire kitchen junk drawer filled with bad batteries. After some quick multimeter checks, about a third were strong enough to be useful. Since then, I've kept a little box labeled half-used batteries. Low-drain devices get these, and I've saved myself a small fortune just by squeezing out every last bit of power. A fun experiment: gather all the different batteries in your house, AA, C, D, 9V, button cells. See what each one reads on your multimeter. You'll quickly notice patterns. Some brands hold voltage longer, some cheap no-name ones drop fast. You start to build a sense for which batteries are a good deal and which simply aren't. This hands-on clarity is surprisingly satisfying, and it cuts through all the marketing nonsense about long life and ultra power. Your multimeter becomes the cold, honest referee. If you're still following along, you might have realized this isn't just about batteries. It's about taking charge, no pun intended, of the little details in life that save time, effort, and money. With every test, you become less dependent on guesswork and more confident in your tools, your gear, and even your appliances. You can spot a tired battery before it ruins your morning. You can tell a loved one exactly what's wrong with their favorite gadget. No more wild guesses. Ever wonder why battery-powered devices sometimes seem haunted? Working some days, not others? Voltage checks often reveal the answer. Temperature swings, device quirks, and even old contacts can contribute to voltage drops or unreliable results. A quick cleaning of contacts with a pencil eraser, plus a multimeter test, is often all it takes to get things running smoothly again. You begin to see the web of small habits and smart choices that separate frustration from peace of mind. So what about those times when your device still won't work even with a good battery? This is the detective work that a true battery test can uncover. Maybe there's corrosion inside the battery compartment, or the device's contacts aren't making a solid connection. Sometimes internal springs or clips can get bent out of shape and fail to press on the battery terminals tightly enough. A quick multimeter test isn't just about the battery, it's a way to understand if the device itself needs help. In my own experience, a misbehaving flashlight once had a good battery inside, but wouldn't switch on because of a nearly invisible layer of corrosion on the contacts. One swipe with an eraser fixed it, and the light came right back to life. All of this goes back to one simple idea. Knowledge is power, and your multimeter is the key. You no longer have to accept dead batteries as a fact of life. You don't have to put up with devices that only work sometimes. Armed with this hands-on skill, you're suddenly better at troubleshooting than most people you know. And best of all, you're learning through your own tests, discoveries, and aha moments. If you've ever hesitated to pick up a multimeter, thinking it's only for electrical engineers or people who fix power lines, now you know, it's for everyone. And using one for battery tests is about as straightforward as it gets. No complex math, no danger, no expensive parts. You can go from zero to expert in less than an afternoon. When you take the next step, trying it out for yourself, you begin to see the whole world a little differently. Suddenly, out of batteries isn't a problem, it's a challenge you know exactly how to solve. That confidence leads to more problem solving, less waste, and a practical edge in daily life. You start to realize the boring economic details are anything but boring when they put real money and peace of mind back into your hands. If you followed the journey so far, you now know that using a multimeter to test battery voltage isn't just about numbers or gadgets. It's a window into how small actions and habits can add up to real savings, less hassle, and that satisfying feeling of finally being in control of the tiny mysteries that sneak into our lives. And as simple as this new skill might seem, you'll find it opens the door to a lot more than you might have expected. Let's zoom out for a moment. When you embrace the habit of checking your batteries with a multimeter, you're not just solving that one problem with the remote or the toy or the forgotten flashlight. You're changing your relationship with technology, even if just a little. Think about how many times in a year someone in your house says, "It's not working. Should we try new batteries?" For most people, that adds up. Money spent, time lost, frustration growing. But the person with a multimeter isn't guessing. You become the resident expert, the one people turn to when something goes wrong. That tiny tool you picked up, probably for less than the price of lunch, has given you a quiet but powerful advantage. I'll never forget a weekend last winter when my neighbor came knocking, holding a bundle of smoke detectors. He'd been swapping out expensive 9-volt batteries every few months, just to stop the annoying chirping. Knowing what I'd learned, I brought my multimeter over, and we quickly spotted the culprit. Only one detector had a battery under 7 volts. The rest were still at nearly full strength. Instead of paying for an armful of new batteries, he only needed one. It was a simple fix, but he saved money, reduced waste, and got peace of mind. He's since picked up his own digital multimeter, and he's started teaching his kids the basics, passing boring economic knowledge to the next generation, even if they just like to watch the numbers on the screen dance around. We're living in a time where it's easy to throw things away at the first sign of trouble. But with something as straightforward and universal as checking your battery voltage, you begin to push back, just a little, against that throwaway mindset. You build a small habit of checking and choosing, not just following the path of least resistance. Does it sound overdramatic? Maybe. But anyone who's cut down their grocery bill, fixed something instead of replacing it, or simply avoided an unnecessary trip to the store knows how quickly these small acts add up over a year. The skill to check a battery well could put a little more cash in your pocket, a bit more order in your day, and a lot more understanding about how everyday things really work. But let's not ignore the bigger picture. Learning how to use a multimeter for batteries gives you a foundation for so much more. Today, it's batteries. For your remote, your car, maybe your electric razor. Next week, maybe you'll use the same tool to check the voltage at an old light switch, diagnose a problem with holiday lights, or confirm if your solar garden lights are charging during the day. This simple practical knowledge tends to snowball. You start to trust your own abilities a bit more and worry a bit less about being lost when a device acts up. You're no longer just a consumer. You're an informed user, even a fixer, in a world that desperately needs more of both. The thing is, most problems in daily life aren't solved by sweeping gestures or big purchases, but by steady, small improvements. Regularly testing your batteries is one of the smallest, easiest ways to start. If you're surrounded by family or friends who aren't exactly tech savvy, you get to play the hero when the smoke alarm starts beeping in the middle of the night, or when the game controller dies seconds before a big online match. Armed with your multimeter and a little patience, you're the one who solves problems. And let's make this clear. The more you use your multimeter, the quicker and more confident you'll get. It starts with batteries, but soon enough, you'll try using the other features, continuity testing, resistance, perhaps even current if you get curious. And every time you solve a small tech mystery, you're learning. You're building a mental map of how your home fits together, how all these invisible electromagnetic rivers make your life more comfortable and connected. That's real-world economics, making your resources last, getting the best value out of what you've already bought, and feeling genuinely less wasteful in an age where too much seems disposable. Reflect for a second on what used to happen. Would you simply toss a battery or keep trying it in different gadgets, hoping for the best? Now, you can check it once and know for sure. No more wondering, no more uncertainty. Just a quick test and you're on your way. What used to seem mysterious and annoying suddenly becomes simple and manageable, and you've got more time and energy to spend on things that matter. So, the next time you face a stubborn remote, a finicky smoke alarm, or a suspiciously silent toy, you know exactly what to do. Grab your multimeter, make the check, and see for yourself. And when someone looks at you, impressed that you figured it out so easily, just smile and remember how simple the trick really was. It all started with understanding how to test battery voltage with a multimeter. If you found this story useful, or picked up a tip you wish you'd known sooner, let us know down in the comments. And if you know someone who's always going through batteries or plagued by unreliable gadgets, share this video with them. They'll thank you for it. For more clear and practical advice that makes real life a little easier and less expensive, hit that subscribe button so you never miss an update from Boring Economic Update. Because sometimes the boring stuff is where the magic really happens.